The kids were sleeping on mats on a cold, damp, wet floor, and their mother tied their groceries and bags and hung them on a ceiling fan because rats came out of the attic at night. And I realized that day that I couldn't go sleep in my nice, clean bed with nice, clean sheets, knowing kids were sleeping on a floor with rats crawling on them. And so decided to do something about it. We tell them they're important and they're valuable. We tell them that they're smart, and we expect them to do their very best. For some of them, it's the first time anyone has said that to them. And my 6th grade teacher said to me, "Kathy, you are a very smart girl and you can do anything you want to do." And no one had ever said that to me, even though I always had A's on my report card. It really changed me, and it affects how I work with our kids now. Girls weren't really expected to do much. You grew up, you got married, and you had a family. I'd always wanted to be a doctor. Not only was I not encouraged to go to college, but I was also told, well, you know, girls can't be doctors. I'm a 5th-generation Floridian. I grew up in Fort Myers, off of Kelly Road, which is in the Iona area. My dad was a farmer. We call him a dirt farmer as opposed to like a chicken farmer or a pig farmer. He grew potatoes. His field hands came from the Harlem Heights community, so I knew about Harlem Heights. We grew up poor, but you know, I will tell you the difference is from what I see people growing up poor now and then is that I did have a mother and father that loved me, and it makes a huge difference. Less than 10% of my classmates were female, and a lot of my professors did not like the fact that we were there. There were a few that thought that women could not be architects. Working as an architect in Fort Myers in the 80s was still a male-dominated profession, definitely. I did become a project manager at a very young age and got to work on some really fabulous projects around Fort Myers. I was out in Seattle for 8 years and worked as a project manager out there, but it was different in that there were a lot of women in the design professions in Seattle because it was a big city. Things had changed in that they were looking for someone to do a good job, male or female, didn't matter by then. I always encountered issues on the job site though. I'm a woman on a job site and it's men everywhere. But the good news is, you know, growing up on a farm, I was comfortable in my own skin. I was comfortable around construction. My brothers were marine contractors. Not always raising the discrimination flag, I think it helped me sail through a little bit. I just happened to drive through Gladiolus one day and it was near the holidays, and in my fabulousness I thought, maybe there's something nice I could do in the community for Thanksgiving. And honestly, I had no idea where that was going to lead. I was going to do this one thing, bring some turkeys and groceries into the neighborhood, pat myself on the back for what a wonderful thing I did. And boy, someone else had bigger plans than that for me, because it opened my eyes to what was actually happening in the community. But I found out that kids were living in abject poverty in a neighborhood half a mile from where I grew up. I was embarrassed that I could be that naive to situations. I just took a really sharp right-hand turn off of my career as an architect and decided to become a chief executive of a nonprofit accidentally. Seriously, it was accidentally, and I had no idea what I was doing. I educated myself on it, but I also surrounded myself with really smart people, so it makes me look smart. To make a family self-sufficient, and that is our mission, and we do that through education, opportunity, and enrichment. In kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade, kids are learning how to read. But once they get to 3rd grade, they're reading to learn, and if they can't read, they're not going to learn, they're going to fall behind, they're going to get frustrated, they're going to think they're stupid, they're going to drop out. Lionfish Fest was one of those. I got to mix my love of spearfishing with raising money, and drinking rum. An event called Over the Edge, rappelling down a very tall building, and donors raise money to get to rappel down a building. My proudest accomplishment, the tangible thing, would be building a community center in the neighborhood, starting a charter school, is a big deal because that's going to impact kids for the rest of their lives. I think something that's intangible is just bringing hope to families that really don't have a support system, and bringing hope to kids whose families are in despair, and standing in that gap and being that safety net and making sure that we have a stronger community.